live. Hopefully people are in here. I'll give it a few minutes before I start. Let me just make sure. Okay, looking at myself. Yeah, so today we are going to go through at least the first 24 laws of power. Um, Maybe more. I doubt we're going to get to more. Um, Simply because I just want to do it justice. I don't want to get like too tired and then just skip through them. So that's really my approach with it. Yeah, we'll play it by ear. Um, Feel free to give input. Feel free to ask questions. Maybe give an example. Maybe illustrate one way that maybe you use this law. I think it's going to be more interesting if we do it more collaborative than me just talking. But and yeah, that's why I did it this way. I really could just go through and do a compilation of every single video I've done on this book. But I don't think it's going to be as fun. I don't think it's going to be as interactive. I don't think it's going to be as beneficial simply for the fact that like I want you to like give me your examples. Like it's easy for me to just talk, but it's also better for everyone else if they get not just my perspective, everyone else's. So yeah, um, looks like there's a few people in here. So um, let me know if you guys want to start. We can wait a little bit longer. We can wait for more people, but yeah, this should be fun. And yeah, hold on, let me go. 2 minutes. Yeah, that's enough time. If you didn't get here in the first 2 minutes, then you don't deserve to hear the first law of power. First law of power, never outshine the master. This is a very, very, very important one. This is perhaps the most important law, and this is perhaps why Robert Greene put it number one. Because if you outshine the master, if you make your boss feel inferior to you, you're playing with your life. You're playing with your livelihood. You could possibly get yourself fired simply by overachieving, simply by making the boss feel like you're insubordinating them, making the boss feel insecure. Like, we need to understand that our bosses, the people in charge of us, the people that have some say over us, they have egos too. And most of the time, that's especially a weak ego. Most of the time, it's an ego that can be easily damaged by, the person above them giving you praise, the person above them saying, wow, this is such a great job. And I really want to emphasize this one as particularly important because it really is. It really is. You never want to outshine the master. And um, I can think to a few occasions in my life. One of the big ones was when I was an orientation leader. Um, we were basically carrying all of the kids' stuff up a few flights of stairs, putting it in the room, going back down, doing the same thing with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students. And at one point, um, we stopped to get lunch, and one of the guys like one of the guys is basically like saying, "Oh my God, I woke up so early today. I didn't sleep." I was like, "Dude, I didn't sleep either, and I was actually carrying the fridges." And he was literally just checking the people in, and because of that, I got reported because I spoke back because I, was demonstrating to everyone at lunch that like I really worked hard that day. I got reported, and I had to have a conversation with the head of the entire program, and it's just like we need to understand that the people in charge of us aren't really developed people. Like we might think that they're better than us. We might think that they don't succumb to the same level of ego. The truth is they probably succumb to more. So I think it's a very important one. I think this is one that, especially as we're starting to establish ourselves, we need to understand this one because I feel like younger people have a need to prove themselves. You need to prove yourself in a good manner. So if you're going to do something exceptional, at least give credit to the boss. At least after that accomplishment, at least whatever you do, give them credit. Say, hey, I couldn't have done this without you. Like, I asked you this question, and that's what gave me the idea. Like, in some way, reflect it back on them. But yeah, law number two, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. This is an interesting one. And this is a almost twofolded one. The first part, never put too much trust in friends. we need to understand that our friends are our friends for the time being. They might not be our friends forever. And think of how many friends you've lost. Think of how many people that at the time you would have done anything for them, but now you wouldn't do the same. You know what I mean? Like people fall out of our lives, and you shouldn't trust someone at the expense of your own. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have friends, but I'm saying just be very careful and very mindful because when you're thinking about your friend, you think about him in the context of a friend. You don't think about it in the context of a business partner, in the context of someone you want to, maybe share an apartment with. And it's like this is why so many friends they stop being friends after they start living together because they might get along great in a social setting, but they don't get along great in a family setting. I mean, it's yes, 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 that's part of the law. And I need you to understand this because like I've had so many people in my life that I've trusted that really looking back, I shouldn't have trusted. Really looking back, I shouldn't have given my time and effort to. And this leads us to the inverse of the second law. The inverse of the second law is, you know, make friends with your enemy. Do some sort of business with your enemy. And the reason behind this is because you already mistrust the person. So if you already mistrust the person and they know that you mistrust them, you dealing with them, they're going to be on their best behavior. They're going to ensure that they don't in any way try to screw you over, try to do anything fishy because you're already looking out for it. You're already being aware of, maybe their past behavior, maybe, their past, misgression. What's the word? Their past. Damn, I'm just gonna skip the word. I can't remember it. My brain's not working right now. But past transgressions. That's it. That's it. They're past transgressions against you, and it's an interesting thing to start applying. Like, there's always the saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend," and this is a example of this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It becomes more of a business transaction than a personal transaction, and it can really benefit you in more ways, and it might even be better than going into business with your friend because I mean both sides are going to be skeptical of the other. Both sides are going to hold each other accountable, and there's no concern that I might damage this other person's feelings. This person's my friend, so I can't be mean to them. You know what I mean? Law three: conceal your intentions. This one is this one's something that I think we all need to do. I think we all really need to conceal our intentions because the more of an open book you are, the more people are going to use this against you. I'm not saying that there's not times to have these moments of sincerity, but they're few and far in between, and they have to be for a purpose. They have to be for, maybe you're in an argument with someone, maybe you're in an argument with someone very close to you, and you reveal why you're feeling this way. You reveal why these sorts of things made you feel this way, and I think that's a good setting to tell the truth. That's a good setting to tell the entire mission, the entire thing. But I think if you inherently leave parts of yourself out, if you inherently leave details out, I think it's a very good way to one just inspire people to make you think you're smarter. Like if you're telling a story, it's always good to leave out the key details so people infer, so they think it's more interesting than it really is. I mean, if you know anything about game, that's one of the best things you could do is you can literally just make people think you're a lot cooler than you actually are simply by just leaving things out. Um, but at the same time, I think concealing your intentions is something we all really need to do, especially in the corporate climate, especially in the corporate world, because I mean, let's face it, we all know that everyone's out to get ahead in the corporate world. We all know that everyone's out kind of for their own best interest, but we have to put these best interests aside and do it for the good of the team and evaluate when it's time to stay, when it's time to leave the company. Like I think it's never really good to be open about, certain beliefs, certain ideologies, because especially nowadays, people get sensitive. People can't handle beliefs that aren't their own. They can't handle a different perspective. So all of these go into, adding more power, adding more weight to this law. But anyway, trust but verify. Yeah, yeah. So if you hire your friend, they start to kind of hate you. Yeah, I think when you hire your friends, you're going to cut them more slack. So let's say that you hire a friend, and they miss an assignment. You're going to be like, "Hey, I know you're having family issues right now. I'll, don't worry about it." And then That's the start of it, and then it becomes a repeat offense. It becomes something that continues to happen, that continues to happen. I think it's something that it's just reality we need to understand. But yeah, always say less than necessary. How ironic. How ironic. This is a law I don't follow, if you couldn't tell. But I'll explain why I don't follow it. I'll explain why certain people shouldn't follow it because there's always an exception to all of these laws, and it's knowing when to be the exception, knowing when to follow these things to a T. But yeah, this one is very important because, like I said before, like the less you say, the more meaningful it is. Like think about the people that just talk all day. The more you talk, inherently, the less value it's gonna have. Like what makes gold valuable? It's the scarcity. And this is literally true with everything. The scarcity is what provides value. The people of few words, that's the people that are listened to the most. And the one exception I would say is if you're a very good speaker, if you're very good at just basic charisma, just being influential to people, if people just tend to draw to your words, like if you're Barack Obama, if you're Donald Trump, if you're any sort of figure like this, like I wouldn't tell them not to speak. I wouldn't tell them not to speak their mind. But what I would say is you don't want to speak too much. You don't want to outstay your welcome. I think like who's the person that's outstayed their welcome? Like look at Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer, everyone used to love him 10 years ago, but then he kept talking and he kept saying nothing, and then people are like, this guy has nothing else to say aside from yeah, I get drunk and shit myself on tour. Like that was literally a joke that he said on this podcast. It's like knowing when to pull back, knowing when to say more, knowing when to say less. That's what this one's really about. But overall, the less you can say, the less you can complain, the less you can reveal your intentions leading into the last one, the more power you're going to hold. Das is the same thing. Those who know do not say. Those who say do not know. Yeah, teachers have to be blabbermouths. Yeah, I don't really like the thing is I don't speak outside of this channel. Like I don't really talk at all during the day. I kind of just read. You didn't hear that voice crack. I kind of just read and yeah, literally just read. And then if I'm on stream or if I'm filming a video, I'll speak. But I don't really speak that much, especially not to people I don't know. It's very rare. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like to keep to myself now. It's more of like a personal preference. It's not me applying the laws of power to be edgy and cool and be manipulative. It's just that's just what I like. All right, law five. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Okay, this one is very important, especially today. Think about the people who have destroyed their reputation for 15 minutes of fame. Think of like, I mean, if it didn't work out, to talk to a girl, like she literally imagine if that clip just went super viral and she didn't make a podcast and like have PR firms, representing her and giving her all these nonsense, podcast guests and stuff and just artificially inflating her career. Like think of the people that are on those street interviews that they don't blow up, they don't get a career from it, and they kind of just ruin their reputation in the eyes of their family, in the eyes of, polite society. And it's like I think we need to be cognizant of this and be cognizant of possibly damaging our reputation at the expense of our future. I'm not saying that if you really believe in something not to say it, but I'm saying just don't don't destroy everything you have. Don't destroy your reputation because it's always easier to maintain a reputation than it is to build one back, than to regain the good faith of people. Like I mean, look at Anthony Cumia might be one of the best ones. Anthony Cumia used to be so loved. Like everyone used to love him. And then the dude just went on Twitter and just started saying crazy shit and like now he's like ostracized. Now he's not in that like podcasting circle. Meanwhile, he was like one of the big voices in the comedy podcast scene. Like he basically started the entire comedy podcast scene, but like simply because of he expressed his views simply because he allowed the echo chamber to get to him. Like he destroyed his reputation and no one wants to work with him. No one wants to give him opportunities. He's basically, on his own corner of the internet without any reach, without any growth. And it's really a shame because I mean, you go back to the old Opie and Anthony clips, and they're just hilarious. They really are. Like that's the only way to say it. They're hilarious. But when you destroy your reputation to the point where the average person doesn't want to associate with you, like that's something that you're gonna find really hard to build back up. That's why you need to create a persona like Sasha Baron Cohen. Yeah, yeah, that's and then you could say it's like art, and you could say it's creative. I mean, even this to a certain extent, like it's a persona. I'm not actually like this off camera. I'm a lot more reserved. I don't really speak unless people ask me questions. I might go into a little bit of detail of stuff I know, but I won't just rant and rant and rant and rant. I think that's just something I've learned to do recently. When I first started making big changes in my life, I was trying to force it onto other people. Not like shove it down their throat, but I was being like, dude, this worked for me. Like, you should do it too. Like, this is gonna be great for you. But um, yeah, it's just you learn over time that like people are gonna either take the changes for themselves and apply them, or they're not going to. And you know what? Can't save everybody. Law six, court attention at all costs. This is something that I think is almost a double-edged sword. Court attention for good reasons. Court attention, preserving your reputation, preserving your legacy, preserving your good standing. But it's never a good thing to have a social media phone. I mean, it's never a bad thing to have a social media phone. Unless it's, of course, you're Anthony Cumia or you're a locale. Like, there are a few people that, like, I would say it's not good. But I think, you know, having a social media following nowadays is basically a license to print money. Like if you have enough people that show up to every single video, not saying you even have to sell products, you just literally can talk and then you get ad revenue from YouTube, you get ad revenue from Instagram or TikTok or wherever it is. And it's like I think it's a really interesting idea, and especially like if you can get traction in the right market, like having a lot of people that just want to come hang out with you, like we have right now, it's really cool. It's really really cool. And even if you're not doing this in a social media presence, like if you're someone that commands the room, if you're someone that commands the center of attention, if you're someone that can as you walk into a room, everyone looks at you, everyone pays attention to you. That's a skill that cannot be replicated by very many people, and that's a skill that we should all develop because being the center of attention and basking in that center of attention will always bring you more opportunity than if you're just in the back of the room. If you're just in the room and no one pays any attention to you. When I found out about the keto diet, it became a damn, bro. I mean, keto's okay. It's just you don't want to be in keto for too long. Because the thing is, it's like veganism. Like it has good principles of it, but I think you need a little bit of everything. I think being ketosis might be good for a little bit, but I think you need the carbs for the mental function. At least I do. I can't really go on no carbs. If you can handle it responsibly. Yeah, yeah. That's why I switched it to also include being the center of attention because I think that's a very important thing. That's not just, I mean, most people might interpret that law as having a social media following, but it's also just attracting attention. If you walk into the gym and everyone stares at you, if you walk into a room and everyone stares at you, like that's something that you can start to use to your benefit. That's something that you could start to use to get some sort of opportunity, to get some sort of job, to get some sort of, business interaction. Law seven, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. I think the best example of this is Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison basically took the inventions of other people and made them world famous and literally changed the world through his marketing genius, through his, shrewd business dealings. I think he left much more of an impact than the individual inventors ever could. And I think we need to understand that on a baseline level. If you own a company, if you're a boss, you're going to profit unfairly based off of your employees because if you don't make more money than your employees are producing, then that means they're not a productive employee. That means inherently that you should fire them because they're not bringing in more value than they're taking from you. And we need to understand this factor and understand that it's always the leader that reaps the reward. It's always the Bill Belichick that gets the credit, not the guy that was on the practice squad, not the guy that was on the scouting team. It's always the guy that is in charge of everything and directs everything that gets the most credit. Even Tom Brady, people take away from Tom Brady's legacy because he was coached by Belichick for so many Super Bowls. So I need you to understand this. I need you to start, you know, understanding this and playing with this in your head. Too much keto actually ruins your sleep, stresses out the adrenals. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah, yeah, Tesla. I mean, the thing about Tesla, I don't think Tesla wanted to be a businessman. I think Tesla wanted to be an inventor, and people really kind of took advantage of that. Like, had he been surrounded by maybe less hungry businessmen, I think his inventions wouldn't have been so buried. But again, I think his inventions were so unique and so ingenious that um, he was never going to get the mainstream recognition because those, like, Tesla invented free energy from the sky. You're telling me that if we applied Nikola Tesla's free energy like 100 years ago, that there wouldn't have been trillions of dollars lost on, turbines, um, power plants, nuclear power, the electric company. Like, think how much money was generated from the electrical industry. Imagine that just vanishes. Like that's the reason why Tesla wasn't given the go ahead to do any of these things is because it would give people too much freedom. It would give people too much self-reliance, and it's not something that you know governments really want. When you really look into it, like the government wants to exercise controls on 1,000 different categories, so people kind of fall into line, so people kind of fall into place. Um, this is why we have a two-party system. This is why we're not educated about our constitutional rights. This is why we're not educated about the Fourth Amendment and how TSA violates it. We're not educated in certain matters, and I'm not here to push Infowars.com. I'm just here to say that like there's certain realities that we need to face. There's certain realities that we need to face that the school system isn't a school system. It's not an education system. It's an inculcation system. It's teaching you what to think, not how to think, and that's fundamentally against the entire idea of education. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the information is all out there for free. It's like the people that are, complaining about how bad everything is. It's like, I mean, dude, look at RFK. Like, RFK is like on steroids. Like, dude, you don't need to be on steroids. You know what I mean? Like, why am I gonna take health advice from somebody that doesn't produce testosterone naturally? You know what I mean? Like, imagine if he just went like full Dr. Sabi and healed himself naturally, healed his whatever is wrong with his voice. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of people I listen to, the people that do it through the power of their own body. I'm not going to listen to anyone that uses a pharmaceutical intervention to heal themselves. But again, that's just me. I'm all about um, finding the least invasive solution because my big belief is that the body is a chain. That my body, if I throw off something, if I throw off some level, then everything else is going to be thrown off. So if I stop my natural testosterone production, what is that going to do to everything else? What is that going to do to you know, other levels in the body? And you know, is this something that's going to benefit me or harm me more? And I don't necessarily believe in you know steroids, but yeah, bioidentical testosterone. He's on TRT, which I think is another scam. I think it's another thing that is being sold to men. I don't think you need TRT if you clean up your diet. If you stop eating processed foods, if you stop consuming dairy, I really don't think you need TRT anymore. But yeah, that's just stuff people aren't willing to give up. And if you're not willing to give it up, then don't complain when you're unhealthy. And again, it's like we can all be healthier, but it's just like there's a few things that you can do to really boost your health. How do you deal with andropause? You don't need to worry about it as much if you're not consuming these foods. The reason that your testosterone is gonna be nuked so much is because you know, think of everything these people are consuming. They're consuming protein shakes, they're consuming dairy, they're consuming, I mean, whey protein is a byproduct, a waste byproduct of the dairy industry. Dairy alone isn't good for you. You should not be consuming dairy at all. And people are consuming a waste product from it. You know what I mean? And that's considered healthy. People are consuming creatine. Creatine is just ground up pig guts. Why would you put that in your body? You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't, even the quote unquote healthy people aren't healthy. They're not doing things that are going to benefit them. Think pre-work. You think a pre-workout is good for you? I mean, it's like the more you can just get closer to nature, the less you're going to need any of these things. You can also take there's there's natural sources of um there's natural test boosters. There's vulvinalensis, there's maca, there's ashwagandha, there's a million more. I can't think of Tonkat Ali, Cistanches. There's a million of them. Like there's a million things you could take to naturally boost the levels, and it's like why wouldn't you try these things to feel a little bit better than inject yourself? Like I just don't like if you're against big pharma, why are you gonna go to big pharma for another drug? You know what I mean? Like if you're for the natural solution, why are you gonna take a synthetic solution? I think that's the dumbest thing that you could do. Because I'm all about natural health. I'm all about holistic health. Like that's my thing. It doesn't have to be your thing, but I'm just saying like this is a perspective that isn't talked about mainstream because it's not popular. If this message was mainstream, then all of these companies would be failing because people would understand how much power they have inside of their own body to heal themselves. But anyway, we'll get back to the 48 laws. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. I don't know what that is. Is that a hormone? Is it like a steroid? I mean, again, it's if it like if it's that big of a deal and you don't think you can fix it, then go ahead. But I would never advocate for someone to take something synthetic when your body can produce it. Um, do you consume dairy? If you cut out dairy, all inflammation is gonna be gone. If you cut out dairy, if you eat in a way that your body can detox, you're not gonna have to worry about inflammation. I used to think that I would never be able to breathe out of my nose because my nose is broken. I have a deviated septum, but truly it was just mucus buildup. Truly it was just me consuming dairy in my entire life. It was me consuming processed foods, all this nonsense, and my body couldn't remove toxins at a higher rate than it was putting them in. But anyway, make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. I think this one is very important, especially in terms of strategy. It's always better to have someone expose themselves. Think if someone comes at you and they're rushing ahead. I mean, if it's unpasteurized and it's not that bad, but if it's pasteurized and it's not good. And any food process that you do to food makes it less digestible. This is why if you like have canned fruit, it's not good for you. Yeah, cow milk's terrible for you. There's full-grown cows that don't drink cow milk. If a full-grown cow doesn't drink cow milk, I'm not gonna drink it. I'm not gonna drink another species milk that the male species does not drink itself. You know what I mean? I feel like that's pretty counterintuitive. But anyway, whenever someone rushes at you, whenever someone goes a full attack at you, there's always going to be a weak spot. There's always going to be some chink in the armor that you can expose. And this is something that we need to understand. Like when we can provoke someone to attack us, we can always respond. And if we can force them to attack us, then basically what this means is we can set them up. We can in some way find a strategy to, entrap them. So like one thing I do is when I fight, there's a choke called a darts. I let people get an underhook and I literally just choke them instantly. It's literally so funny. Every time I let people get an underhook is a really advantageous position because it means you can take my back if you get a good underhook. But I let them get an underhook and I just lock up a choke, and then 5 seconds later they're tapping out. Like if I provoke people to do a certain thing and set them up, like it's always the easiest thing to do. No, 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 no. I'd rather you talk about this stuff because that's the whole idea of this is like input. Like I'm not I don't care. Like dude, if we talk about health the rest of the time, it's not a big deal. Win through your actions, never through your argument. This is a very, very good law. This is one that we should all understand. It's never good to argue with anybody. Inherently, when you argue with people, people are going to disagree. What's up, Ashley? Um, anyway. Win through your actions, never through your argument. Ashley, you messed me up. Damn, come on. Now I'm all blushy and now I'm like my voice is gonna crack. But think about it. Like think about your liberal aunt. Think about your liberal uncle. Think about your liberal relatives. Has it ever benefited you to argue with them? Has it ever benefited you? Have you ever made any ground arguing with them? Or are they so entrenched in their worldview that you can never go anywhere? There's never any sort of agreement. There's never any sort of ground given. They're always just saying, "Oh my God, Trump is literally Hitler. Oh my God, Trump is fascist." Like I can't tell you how many people say this. I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm a libertarian. Like I don't identify with any party, but to say that Trump is a fascist, and then these same people will say FDR was a good president when he court packed, when he basically sold America away through the New Deal, when he created the welfare state, when he, put 110,000 Japanese Americans into internment camps without due process, without habeas corpus. Like, you can't tell me that like there's any logic behind these people. You can't even point out Nancy Pelosi with her suspicious trading accounts, and they're not even going to give you that. They're not even going to agree that every political party is evil. Every political party does not represent the interests of the people. They're just going to say Trump is a fascist. And wouldn't it just be better to thrive under the system? Wouldn't it just be better to show that this country is a great place, that this country can do great things by accomplishing every dream you've had? Like it's always better to demonstrate the things that you can do instead of explicate. It's always better for me to, let's say I found a new diet, my hair's growing back. Is it better for me to make videos talking about how healthy this is, or is it better for me to grow my hair back, put a picture of me completely bald, put a picture of me with a full head of hair, and say this is how I grew my hair back? What's gonna be more convincing? What's gonna help more people? It's the video where I'm saying this is how I grew my hair back naturally. You know what I mean? Like it's always better to explicate. I mean, demonstrate than explicate. I find most potent to establish. Yeah, some people you can't find common ground with. That was my point. There's certain people that you'll just never find common ground with because they're so locked up in their worldview that they can't see it from the other side. Like you can find common ground with them and then bring it back to the argument and they'll still deny it. Like I've done this so many times with so many people where I basically get them over to my side and then I bring it back to the example that we were talking about and they still don't agree. And it's like, how much time did I waste and how much energy did I waste where I could just have, worked on myself? Like truly, like I've tried to help so many of my friends through the stuff I've done, and it's just like the only way that they'll ever realize that I've made such a big change is when they see how much success I get, see how much money I make, see how much fame, notoriety I get. It's like that's gonna be the only time where these people actually listen to me. They're never gonna listen to me because they still see me as, the same person I was in high school. So, but yeah, I think this is a very good law. I think this is one that I don't think there's an exception to this one. I truly don't. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This one is a extension of the saying, you're the sum of the five people you spend the most time with. Most people spend their time with people who aren't improving. Most people spend their time with people that are going nowhere. They're complaining about how bad the world is. And guess what? If you spend your time and your days with people that can't seem to figure it out, guess what? You're not going to be able to seem to figure it out either. And it's about who you spend your time with. It's about who you surround yourself with that will start to shape your ideas, that will start to shape your thought. I'm not even going to get into the law of assumption because we'll be here for 3 hours and I won't get past this one. But if if you want more on why this is such a fundamental law, why this is such a fundamental thing, what I want you to do is join my school community. It should be linked in the description of the video, and just go in the law of assumption course. I don't feel like going through it now. When you're poor, you're crazy. When you're rich, you're eccentric. Yeah, yeah. When you laugh, the whole world laughs with you. When you cry alone. Yeah, yeah, that's a really, really good example. I like that. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. I think the best example for this is AI. I think the best example for this is understanding that AI can't replace you if you're not replaceable. Like, if anyone can do what you're doing, then truly you can lose your job at any moment because truly someone new can come in that has a lot less experience that they can afford to pay a lot less, and boom, you're gone. And it's like we need to find something about us that is unique. We need to find something about us that, the company relies on us to do. The person relies on you to do. The client relies on you to do. Like this is what I tell everybody. AI won't take your job if you're creative, but AI will take your job if you're replaceable. AI will take your job if you're a volunteer employee. If you're in a managerial role, if you have some sort of soft skill, if you have some sort of, customer service skill, if you have some sort of face-to-face interaction skill, you'll never be replaceable because think about it. Do you think at some point there's going to be AI salesmen for cars? Maybe low-end cars. I mean, you see like Carvana. But nobody is going to want to go to a Porsche dealership. No one's going to want to go to a Ferrari dealership and talk to a fucking computer. They're going to want to talk to a salesman. There's always going to be salesmen. There's always going to be lawyers. It's just you got to be a top level one to still keep your job. And that's the big thing about AI. AI is going to replace a lot of people, but it's going to be the fucking losers that never do anything. It's going to be the losers that never, you know, actually put in any effort, that never actually put in any work, that they're replaceable simply for the fact that they never took time to cultivate their skills. So always take time to cultivate your skills. Always take time to find your unique lens. Think of Einstein, think of Tesla, think of Edison. These people defied history, but these people didn't, you know, follow a traditional career path. They went their own way. They found their own insights. They found their own creativity, and they ran with it. Now, I'm not saying that you are going to accomplish as much as them, but we all have the same potential inside of us. We all have the same creative powers. It's just some people are naturally born with access to it, and some people have to develop it. And if you want a real quick exercise to develop it, all you have to do is before you go to bed, think of your day in reverse order. So think of yourself getting in the covers. Think of yourself brushing your teeth. Hopefully, I don't know if people in the chat brush their teeth. Hopefully not with fluoride toothpaste, but that's another issue. Get like natural toothpaste. I Fluoride is it's neurotoxic. It literally is an androgen inhibitor. It nukes your testosterone. It affects your hormones. I don't know why anyone brushes their teeth with it. I don't know why anyone doesn't filter their water. Um, it's baffling to me how this is allowed in our country. But anyway, after you brush your teeth, think about, maybe you're eating, maybe you're watching my stream, maybe you're doing whatever, and go all the way back until the moment you're getting out of bed. And I need you to just start doing this day after day after day. And what this is going to do is this is going to really benefit your imagination skills, really benefit your ability to picture things clearly. And the clearer you can picture it in your head is the more likely you can reflect it in reality. Understand that? That's all we're going to say for this. But yeah, again, if you want more, go into my school. It explains all these things in much more detail. But yeah, they're to keep people dependent on you. Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily a manipulative thing. It's like inherently in any relationship, inherently in any business partnership, inherently in any sort of situation that's going to last long term, there has to be some sort of deal arranged. And it's not necessarily evil, it's just human nature. Yeah, it calcifies the pineal gland. We're not going to get into that though. That's when you start to sound crazy. Like the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. This has been understood for thousands of years, but it's not understood by science because science is a bunch of atheists. So, yeah. Why do you think there's pine cones in the Vatican? Why do you think there's pine cones in all of these ancient pictures? What do you think the pine cone is symbolic of? That's all I'm going to say. Anyone that doesn't believe in the significance of the pineal gland is, you know, keep drinking Florida water. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. So this is like that stereotype of like the like deadbeat boyfriend that like the girl always goes back to because he always apologizes at the exact moment. And my girlfriend's watching right now, so I'm gonna try to say this in a manner that doesn't make it seem like I do this, but it's something that we can start using to benefit. I feel like she's gonna think I'm like a manipulative expert after I'm going through these, but I truly don't manipulate people, at least consciously. So, if you're someone in my life watching this, I don't do any of these things. I just keep them in mind in terms of people manipulating me. I don't manipulate people because I don't want to come off as a used car salesman. Inherently, unless you're like, I don't know, maybe Barack Obama level, operator, maybe you're Trump level operator, like it's pretty hard to come off not feeling like a used car salesman. It's pretty hard to, you know, make people feel like they got the better end of the deal. Like that's really how I live my life. Like if we enter into a business transaction, like I want you to feel like you rip me off. I don't care what value I give you. I just want to feel like you got the better end of the deal, and that's how I'm gonna go about making money. That's my idea. But dark triad, yeah, yeah. No, the pineal gland is like really the source of our consciousness. Science doesn't understand it; they never will. But it's truly the source of our consciousness. This the It retracts at the age of like from 7 to 14. It starts to retract, This is why so many kids see ghosts because they're more clairvoyant, because their pineal gland isn't calcified and it's active. I don't know if I should even say these things, but yeah, this is what I read in books. This is what I read in books, guys. Don't come after me. But anyway, back to the selective honesty and generosity. So a simple act is always going to go so far. Like think of giving a big gift before you ask something of someone. Like it's always so much easier to get that yes if you can, give them a gift. Like I know a lot, a good example of this is like Patrick Bet David went on Joe Rogan's podcast and got him like three, four gifts. Like why the fuck would Joe Rogan want anything? But like he was giving a big gesture because he was basically going on the podcast to say you should have Trump on and like basically clip farming because like months later he's like, oh yeah, I told Rogan to have Trump on, and basically this was because of and, like you know what I mean? It's like you can always kind of work your way into things by being nice, by being generous, by in some way showing a vulnerable side to yourself, and it doesn't necessarily have to be genuine. And this is something that I don't do. I've never really done, but I think it's something that you should recognize in people because think of the people that you deal with who always screw you over, but at the right time they apologize. At the right time they say the right thing. And it's like maybe they're not a maybe they're not a good person. Maybe they're not secretly, you know, damaged and you gotta save them. Maybe they're just a conniving person. So it's a part of the book they detail those charity people in the airport, the giving before the taking. That's it. I mean that yeah, that's probably in this section. I've read this book so long ago I don't remember all of the stories in it. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. In job interviews, when they ask for a weakness, this is so useful because you need to admit a fault of yours that is not serious and that is not longer a problem anymore. Yeah, yeah, that's a something I really I'm always way too honest in job interviews. I'm always way too much of myself. I'm like good, and then the longer the job interview goes on, like the person's either gonna love me or hate me, or I'm gonna disqualify myself or I'm gonna get the job. Like it's 50-50. That's how I am with everybody. Like people either love my authenticity or they think it's just too much. I'm a very polarizing individual. I'm trying to calm it down more and more. But yeah, that's a really good thing to bring up. But anyway, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. This law is very interesting. This law is something that I think we really should apply because think of it any business deal. It's what have you done for me lately? It's not what have you done for me, it's what have you done for me lately. And this is truly how things work. Think about all the people that are now snitching on Diddy. Like Diddy brought up these people's careers, but they're snitching on him because he hasn't done anything for them lately. He doesn't have any power anymore. And I mean, you could see this with Hollywood as well. Like this is why Harvey Weinstein was allowed to, you know, do what he was doing for so long. It's because he was making people money. It's because he was making people billions of dollars. And had he not been doing that, had his career been on a downturn, he wouldn't have been thrown to the wolves. He would have been able to keep up this abuse. And it's like it's crazy to me how much people can be protected by you know what they're doing for someone. But this is aside from the point, and it's something we need to understand that it's like never ask for someone's gratitude. Never ask for someone to be merciful on you. Just give them a better offer. Just give them a better deal. Just in some way appeal to their best interest. In some way say, you know what, if you help me through this, I promise you I'll pay you back. I promise I'll pay you back double. Or say, you know what, if you cut me slack here, I'll tell all my clients how generous you are, and it's going to make you seem so much better. Like there's always a way to spin things to make it seem in the person's best interest. And if you don't have anything, use the appeal to emotion. Use to the appeal that they're going to look so much better in the eyes of everyone else because inherently this is what everyone wants to do. Inherently, everyone wants to look good. Everyone wants to feel like a good person, and at the very least, we can, play off how it would seem to the rest of the world. All right, on to law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. This is a very important one because this is something I think we need to do more and more today. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you can't speak your mind, where the First Amendment doesn't mean anything because you could still get fired for your beliefs. And it's very, very frustrating to me that, I can't walk into a room of people and discuss how the Constitution was written, how the Constitution is applied, and how what it means in terms of certain rights, what it means in terms of certain ideas without being seen as, um, like this is like I'm not to put anyone on blast, but like after the election, I was explaining Roe v. Wade to my mother and sister, and they called me a misogynist for citing Roe v. or citing Ruth Bader Ginsburg's opinion. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's opinion was that, okay, this is not a thing the Supreme Court should decide because the Supreme Court interprets laws. The Supreme Court does not write laws. And the decision of Roe v. Wade basically institutionalized, it basically put on paper a statutory law that protected the right to abortion. Where, like, I don't even care what you agree on this, but like, that was her point. And my sister's like, that's misogynistic. I'm like, I literally just cited your feminist icon. You know what I mean? She probably has a picture of her in her room, and I'm just like I don't. I've read Roe v. Wade like 4 or 5 times. Like like read the case if you're going to tell me about the rights. You know what I mean? And it's like you can't walk into a room and say these things because somehow the facts are upsetting. Somehow the facts are bad. Like I truly don't get it. I truly don't get it. And it's not to like diminish anyone's opinion. I'm just saying like I should be able to go into a room and say objectively true facts, and you don't have to like them. But using an ad hominem attack, using one of these things, it just shows that you can't form an argument that stands its ground. The second you start to call me bald when I'm beating you in an argument is the second you lost. Just understand that. But anyway, what's up, Christina? She wanted to go through legislation. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's how the Constitution was set up. No, I didn't miss you. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like the whole thing is the Democrats had an opportunity to pass a federal abortion law when Obama was in power, but they refused to do it. So if anything, don't get mad at the Republicans, get mad at the Democrats for not doing what they said they would do. Obama literally ran on the platform that he would do this, and he didn't do it. So it's like get mad at him. But anyway, we're not going to devolve into politics here. I think politics are stupid. But what I was saying was we need to be friendly with everybody. We need to learn what we can and can't say. We need to learn what people's opinions are and able to express ourselves in a manner that's not going to get us fired. I think this is basically what I said when I went over this law the first time, but it's like it's always better to be a fly on the wall at first and then, learn who you can make jokes around in a certain setting. Learn what you can say, learn what you can't say. Because there's been so many times in my life where I made a joke and someone doesn't understand it's a joke. They take it to heart and then they just hate me for the rest of their lives. And it's like, I don't really care because people are gonna hate me or love me, but it's at the same time, it's like I I need to be cognizant that certain people don't understand that I'm joking. I need to be cognizant of certain people can't take jokes super well. Like my girlfriend made fun of me and I like fake flipped her off the other day, and she was like damn near about to cry, and I'm like, dude, I was joking. Like I had to full on apologize. It was just like I didn't mean anything. It was just like really, and I'm like, yeah, why would I do that to you? Why would I be so mean to you for no reason? Like when have I ever been mean to you? She's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we need to understand what we can and can't do in front of people. I think this is a very, very important one. Crush your enemy totally. Okay, this is straight out of the art of war. This one basically says when you're in conflict with somebody, it's true. Actually, it's true. You know it's true. You know I was joking. But that's literally what happened. Maybe I made it a little more entertaining, but crush your enemy total. Straight out of the art of war. And this is basically saying that when you're in conflict with somebody, you're doing some sort of aggressive move, some sort of, hostile takeover, some sort of business move, it's never good to allow them a chance to get back at you. It's never good to allow them to surrender, to give ground, and then come back and find a way to beat you in the end. And I think a great example of this is like if you get a promotion over someone and that promotion comes in between your relationship, they start to get angry at you, they start to resent you, like they might sabotage the entire team. So if you can fire the person right away, it's always a good move. The same thing is if you're a boss and somebody stops listening to you, someone insubordinates you, someone, talks back to you in a meeting and does it in a disrespectful manner, fire them on the spot. Don't go to HR. Don't go to anything. Don't give them even a chance to ruin the morale of your team because the morale of your team is so much more important and you don't want to allow this person's anger to fester. You don't want to give this person any slack. You don't want to give them any mercy. You don't want to allow them a second chance because if they had an outburst against you and you punish them but you don't fire them, you're giving them an opportunity to get back at you in the future. So um, instead of having to watch your ass, instead of having to, watch the people around you, just get rid of the problem, nip it at the bud. And yeah, this is a really good law, literally straight out of the Art of War. But again, great law, something you need to understand. Never give the potential for surrender. Never give the potential to for them to give up ground, for them to, recoup their forces and then re-engage, re-attack. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. This is something I should learn from Jib. You know, so the importance of this is, I mean, this really goes back to like the stereotype of like you gotta wait 3 days to call her. I mean, I don't agree with that. I think if you care about someone, just let them know. But there's all these manipulative tactics to do to make people feel like you don't need them, make people feel like you don't deserve them. And think of the friends you haven't seen for a while. Do you remember all the times they've annoyed you? Or when you see them, are you just like, oh yeah, we've had so many good times? Like, the more absence people have in your lives, the more you seem to remember the good times. Like, and my girlfriend's here, so I have to be careful. But like, think of the classic relationship trope of like, oh, she was the one. Oh my God, I miss her. My life will never be the same without her. And it's like, dude, this chick was literally abusive to you. Why are you saying this? This chick literally bullied you, and you became like a completely different person. And now that you're away from her, like, you're you again. Like we can all say this about one of our friends. We can all say this about one of them, but like they're thinking about what was instead of the actual reality. And it's because of the absence. It's because their mind can only remember the good things. Their mind wants to push away the bad things and only remember the good times. And it's like I think it's very very important to use this, especially in terms of I don't necessarily know like maybe in terms of relationship, maybe in terms of business transactions, maybe in terms of leaving things on good terms and allowing them to become even better. Tactics come from observing people that naturally behave that way. Those that actually have a lot going on, they're busy and in love with their passion. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, the game guys on YouTube, the game guys on Instagram and TikTok, they'll teach you to pretend to be busy. Um, and that never works. That never works. Because inherently you're gonna start when you start seeing the girl more and more, you're gonna start texting her more and more. You know what I mean? Like that act's gonna drop, and then she's gonna catch on that you were kind of just doing it to do it, not doing it for any actual reason. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. This is um, this is that meme. Never let them know your next move. But and on a serious note, it's always good to have an air of just I don't know if recklessness is the right word, but an air of unpredictability. Like when people fight me, the reason why I'm so good at fighting is because I don't do things normally. I don't do things naturally. Like I catch submissions from places I really shouldn't. I invent things on the fly. And that little edge is what makes me so dangerous and makes people be so hesitant when they fight me. So I don't even have to get a submission on them. They're just going to inherently be more cautious. And this is giving me even more opportunities to catch things. It's giving me even more opportunities to advance position. Like always being able to, change things up, always being able to, throw up your plans in the air and go about a new tactic, a new strategy is going to benefit you a lot. This is really what made Napoleon a great general. Napoleon was such a great general because he was able to disperse the leadership so well that individual factions could relay information back to him and they could make their own decisions based off of what they were seeing. Christina, I don't miss you. Do you want to know I don't miss you? Because you were saying gross stuff in that chat yesterday. That's why I don't miss you. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Okay, I was listening to the economics professor or economist, whatever you want to call him, Tom Sowell. He is a very, very intelligent man, and he was basically saying that every time throughout history, any civilization that has isolated itself has always been destroyed. So we can think about, China. We can think about various other places that started to isolate themselves and stopped to innovate, and they always suffered because of it. So when you build a fortress, when you protect yourself, when you wall yourself in, you're walling yourself in not only physically but mentally and spiritually as well. And it's all about the ability to change. It's all about the adaptability and the ability to form relationships and be able to call on these people when you need them. Like it's so true that it takes a village. Any great accomplishment was always backed up by people helping them. Whether it was people paying for them financially, people supporting them, people in the background helping them, organize these things like Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't able to give the I Have a Dream speech. Like he had ghostwriters, he had people helping him, he had people, driving him to and from these things. Like that's not only his speech, that's everyone working with him giving that speech. You know what I mean? Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. This is a very, very important one. What I need you to understand is there's certain people that will sink their own ship to get revenge on you. They will voluntarily total their car just because you cut them off. They will run you off the road because you minorly inconvenience them for a few seconds. I mean, one time I didn't even cut this truck off. Damn, I got pit stains. You guys are making me nervous. One time I didn't even cut these people off. It was two, you know, Spanish fellows in a truck, some sort of landscaping truck. They didn't even have to brake. I literally get over. They don't have to slow down at all. And I completely forget about this. And 10 minutes later, as they're pulling by me, they throw a sandwich at my car. And I'm like, I barely even remember who you guys are. And it's like, you got to be careful with who you're dealing with. There's some crazy people out there. There's people that are willing to lose it all over absolutely nothing. And we need to understand this because once we start understanding this, this is when we know who we can mess with. This is when we know who we can joke around with, who we can not necessarily take advantage of, but just, make certain jokes around, say certain things, do certain things. Like, I have a friend that if he thinks that you slighted him years ago, he will take it to his grave. He says, "All my haters will know fear." I don't know. I don't know what kind of sandwich it was. It was like a year ago. But like my friend, he literally like keeps track of the people that unfollowed him on Instagram, and it's like, bro, I like, you know what I mean? That's not someone that you want to get on the bad side because he's gonna remember that to the end of time. If you slight him, he's gonna talk about it. He's gonna talk about it with the people around him. He's gonna be like, "We gotta get back at this guy." Like, there's certain people that will like willingly go to jail if you bump into them at a bar. And we just need to recognize these people and stay away from them, avoid them. I think that's the best example, though. The people at a bar or people that, will try to run you off the road if you cut them off. But yeah, am I going too fast through these? Do you want me to go slower? Or if we're almost through 24, we can start talking after I get to 24. Because I'm starting to lose my voice. I don't want to talk the whole time. So it's probably a good call to say only 24. How long have I been streaming for? I've been streaming for 58 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, we have people in here, so we could react to stuff, or we could just talk if you guys have questions about any of the laws, or want to bring up any examples. Do not commit to anyone. This is basically saying don't take sides. Be Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland still has the Nazi gold in their bank accounts. Like, it's it's crazy to me, like how that's hasn't been seized. I guess there's no extradition. There's no treaty that allows us to happen. That's probably the whole incentive of putting money in a Swiss bank is that it's protected, and even these horrible people have their money protected. But again, it's never good to pick a side. It's never good to pick a Democratic or Republican side and only vote that forever because it's literally giving in to what the parties want. The parties want people that aren't educated. The parties want people that aren't willing to actually think, willing to actually, vote for the other party if the other party has a better candidate. And this is the entire problem with the American government. There's people that will blindly vote for whoever is red, for whoever is blue. There's a saying in minority communities, vote blue no matter who. That's not a good thing to say. You shouldn't vote no matter who the candidate is because That's literally giving in to why the two-party system is so bad, because the two-party system is so bad because it doesn't have to try to win people from the other side. It doesn't have to reach across the aisle. It doesn't have to say anything that's contrary to their own party, because all they have to do is, conform to two, three party talking points, and then they win the election, then they win the primary. It's just it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Never commit. Be Switzerland. You got to be Switzerland through your entire life. You got to remain unattached and ask who's benefiting me the most, who's doing the most for me. This is the best way to do it. I think the example that Robert Greene, was it Queen Elizabeth that never married? Whatever Queen of England that never married, that was the example that Robert Greene used, and he basically said that like she used the lore of her getting married to whatever European dictator, whatever European king, as almost a way to avoid conflict, as almost a way to improve relations. Very interesting how she did it. I can't remember the exact. Was it Queen Elizabeth or Queen Victoria? I can't remember. I don't know. Fucking yeah, Virgin Lady. Yeah, I don't know English history like that because fuck England. The Boston Tea Party was the last time I learned about English history. Play a catcher to sucker. Oh my god, sucker to catch a sucker. My brain just stopped working. Seem dumber than your mark. Damn, why are you saying my name, bro? No problem, but don't say my name. We can't have these weirdos knowing my name. Hold on, we gotta remove your comment. I appreciate the comment, but these people can't know my name. But yeah, I have to find out how to change my name on school because it's just my whole name. I shouldn't say that. She had to lean on a few aristocratic men. Yeah, no, thanks, Mr. Mulo. That you asked really good questions, so hopefully I could help you. I didn't want to go into like paragraphs and paragraphs because I think it would have gotten away from the point. I think what I gave you was just enough. But always feel free to ask me questions in school, even if it's just in a DM. Same thing with my Discord. If you want to ask me questions, you don't feel like you want to ask it in the entire chat, literally just ask me in a DM. I'll answer. No, I'm not getting stalked. It's just I need to prepare for when I'm going to get stalked, bro. Like I have stalkers in real life. I don't need more stalkers, in the ethereal plane, in the internet plane, you know what I mean? Then if you don't commit for too long, it pisses everyone off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was the caveat to it. And I think that's why I didn't go into like the relationship side of things. Like you can always say like if you don't commit to any single person, then you're the most desirable. Like I mean, think about Leonardo DiCaprio. Like women are throwing themselves at him because he doesn't commit. But at a certain time, that charm is gonna wear off. Like now he's a fat old man, and he doesn't look like he used to. I mean, he still has $500 million, so that helps. But like, I mean, it's like De Niro. Like De Niro's like old and single, and he's paying his baby mama like 100 grand a month. Like I don't want that life. I'd rather be unsuccessful and have a great woman, have a great family. You know what I mean? Like I don't want. Like I don't necessarily advocate that for anybody. But anyway, back to the thing. Play the sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Um, Leo wants to, dude. You don't have a divorce settlement if nothing's in your name. If you have no income, if you have nothing under your name, there can't be anything taken from you. There's ways. It's not even hiding your money. It's just taking advantage of the tax system and leveraging the tax code to your benefit. There's also prenups. So a really like if people are successful businessmen, a really good way to get a prenup signed. This is not to my girlfriend. This is not evil. This is nothing. This is just a very good tactic. Let's say you own a business. Um, you want to sign a prenup. This is a very good argument by just saying that, hey, I'm going to sign this prenup so that in the event of a divorce, the company's leadership is not going to be up in the air. The company's ownership is not going to be up in the air. Like we might do an IPO at some point. So I got to have all the assets, baby. That's what you got to say. Uh, there's ways to write them where they're kind of infallible. There's ways to do it. It really depends on the circumstances. It depends on the amount of money you make while married versus the amount of money you have before married. If you aren't a billionaire before you get married and then you become a billionaire, let's face it, you're not keeping all the money. Um, but if you're a billionaire and you marry someone and you have a prenup, you're keeping it. That's it's that simple. Like, I mean, it's not exactly that simple, but that's generally what's gonna happen. Like, if you get super rich while you're married to somebody, um, they're going to be able to claim that it was because of their support that you were so successful. That's really what happens, and you're gonna have to pay alimony because you need to keep up their lifestyle. Like, that's really how it works. That's really the idea of it. The idea of it is you have to provide what that person would have if they were still in that relationship because it broke up under unfair assumptions. But yeah, family law is weird though. Family law is really up to the discretion of the court, the discretion of the judge. But anyway, law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than you are. It's never smart to be the smartest person in the room. It's always smart to seem dumber than you are. It's always smart to lead on that you're not as intelligent as you really are because this allows you to catch people. This allows you to catch people in lies. This allows you to see what people are really about because if people think you're dumb, if you play dumb, they're going to show you their true colors. They're going to show you your true intentions. And you don't even have to do it in necessarily a manipulative way. Like a very good way I apply this law is look, I'm like a walking encyclopedia. I don't like to admit it. I can really access. I'm not even that smart. I can just access my subconscious. So anything I've read, I almost have like a photographic memory. Like I can remember exact pages where I've read things on. Um, Not like the exact details, but like, dude, I can recite certain things I've read in books like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like I can recite certain ideas, certain images. Like that shit just comes to me. But if I'm talking to someone that I want to gain the respect of, if I'm talking to someone that maybe I don't know so well, maybe I want to establish some sort of relationship, I just ask them questions about themselves. I just ask them questions about their field, how things work, and you can always just get someone to like you by asking genuinely good questions. And it's not even really playing dumb. It's just playing a little naive. It's just saying, you know what? I was learning about this. What does this mean? Is this actually true? I was reading about this. What do you think about this? I think that's always a good way to begin any sort of relationship by asking genuine questions, finding out what this person's about. And, you know, when you can ask genuine questions to someone, it's one of the best things to do because people love to talk about themselves. Think people very infrequently are allowed to talk about themselves in such a manner that, you know, they can just show how smart they are. So if you can make someone feel smart, you can really establish a great relationship. I don't think the government should be part of any relationship. The thing why the government's part of marriage is one, common law marriage doesn't exist anymore, and two, um, the government's part of it because the government used to incentivize people to get married. The government at one point wanted to incentivize two-parent households. They wanted to incentivize, a nuclear family. So they were basically giving tax cuts and tax benefits for marriage. This was really during the peak of America, during the 1950s and stuff like this. And then things started to change as the welfare state became more and more profitable for them. But yeah, libertarian is true sense. I mean, libertarianism is good. It's just it's never going to get anywhere. Yeah. I was going through Reddit earlier on the know about it, stuff you recommended and stumbled upon the ladder experiment. Yeah, yeah. Um, I, I mean, you don't necessarily need to do the ladder experiment. Like, okay, I have a really strong sense of faith, so I don't need to prove to myself that the ladder experiment's really just if you don't believe in it. Um, but since birth, I've seen things that are just insane. Like my dreams have always told me things that I really shouldn't know. My dreams, like I've had visions of me breaking my wrist before I broke my wrist. Like I knew what a broken bone felt like before I broke a bone. And I can vividly remember being a child and like imagining how a broken bone would feel and then, 10 years later break my wrist. You know what I mean? It's like weird stuff like that is just too fantastical for it to be just pure. like just a pure coincidence. It's just a complete synchronicity. My mind was telling me that something was going to happen. So it's like I don't need I don't need to. Common law doesn't exist in most states, but common law marriage isn't what you think. Common law marriage isn't a good thing. Common law marriage means that you share the same rights as a married couple. So inherently, you become. So all common law marriage means is if you live in the house for long enough together and you present yourself as a married couple, then you have the same legal protections as a married couple. So therefore, you have to pay the same amount in divorce. Common law marriage isn't what you think. I mean, common law, like when I say common law, I'm talking about less government interference. You can do whatever you want as long as the government doesn't interfere. But common law marriage, oh, okay, okay, okay. What I was saying earlier, though, when I said common law marriage, I was talking more so in the sense of like you just get married in the eyes of the church. Like it's a spiritual thing. It's not a government thing. Like why does the government have to say what I can and can't do? When you register something, legally speaking, the legal term register means to transfer ownership. Why am I transferring ownership of my marriage to the government? Why am I why am I transferring ownership when I register my car? Why am I transferring ownership when I register to vote? Why am I transferring ownership when I register a house? Well, you know what I mean? Like you have to register a corporation, so the corporation is almost like a arm of the state. It's really weird. All right, what law was I on? 21. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. This is the inverse of crush your enemy completely. If you see defeat is imminent, if you see a defeat is going to happen, what I want you to do is surrender. When you surrender, that means you're going to live another day. That means you have another opportunity to recoup your forces, to, reevaluate the situation and engage in a more practical and in a more, you know, stronger position, stronger way. And you can start using surrender as a good tactic. You can start using surrender as a way to, you know, get some win in the future. Yeah, yeah. Concentrate your forces. This is a very simple law. This is basically saying that like you don't want to spread yourself too thin. This could be physically, this could be mentally, this could be spiritually. Robert Greene talks mostly about the physical aspect of it, like you always want to concentrate your forces in terms of do this task, then do this task, then do this task. Like you don't want to spread yourself thin by working on 1,000 different projects at once. This is probably something I should really follow. But I mean it's the same thing in battle, the same thing in war. Like you don't want to, spread out your forces, one deep, 1,000 wide. You want to do 10 by or 100 by 10. You know what I mean? Like it's always good to be more impacted, intact. It's always better to defend a smaller position than it is to, defend a weaker, longer chain. And I think we need to start applying these things into our lives because, I mean, it's not just the physical aspect; it's the mental aspect as well. Like, yeah, you can work on 1,000 projects at once, but if you're not finishing them one at a time, then there's no benefit to it. Like, what I really should do is with all my projects, I should just only focus on one of them, finish that, and then worry about the next one. I might be able to write ideas, but I'm not gonna, start working on a million things because that's how I get sidetracked and don't ever accomplish them. And right now, I literally have two books I was writing that I haven't touched for a month, and it's like, why am I working on two books when I haven't even written one? You know what I mean? It's just stupid. Like it's really a good tactic to go through life by not spreading your forces too thin. Surrendering and looking weak when you're strong without shame is a classic. Yeah, yeah. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Um, this basically means just play the game. Basically just means like kiss up to the boss just enough. Be just as friendly as possible. Question them just enough. Don't be too perfect. Don't be too rebellious. You gotta know the give and take. You gotta play the game. You gotta play the push and pull. It's like with anything. It's like If you're too clingy to a girl right away, like overly clingy, like you're spamming her 50 times in a row, like that's not a good thing. But maybe if you had a good date, you can send her three, four messages. You know what I mean? Like it's always good to show interest, but not good to show too much interest. And it's the same thing with this. Like you can't be too enthusiastic. You can't be too gung ho. You can't be too aggressive. You have to, you know, be able to tame your behavior, tame your ability to fit into a set role. The king falls off the horse, you fall too. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are the first 24 laws. I'm not gonna go through any more because I'm starting to lose my voice, but you guys want to talk about anything else? I've only been streaming for, let me check. Um, I've only been streaming for an hour 15, but we can keep going. Do you guys want to ask any questions about the 48 laws? Do you guys want to talk about anything else? Fall on purpose. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Hold on, let me grab my water bottle before I lose my voice. Oh, hey, sir. Do you play video games? No, I don't. My bad. I don't know. Video games aren't interesting to me anymore. I like, I don't know. Like I can just read a book and like gain insights about the world. I don't know. I really got really boring recently. Like I find fun in the most boring things. Like to me, sitting down, any good books on self-hypnosis, Neville Goddard. I mean, think about it. Hypnosis is just, someone putting you in a trance and impressing your subconscious to bring out certain desired outcomes. The thing about hypnosis is the reason why Carl Jung went away from hypnosis is because the changes are temporary. So it's something that you can just do on a low level to yourself at all times. Like you don't necessarily have to hypnotize yourself. You can just impress messages to your unconscious. So a good one from the power of your subconscious mind. That might be a good book for you to read too. The power of your subconscious mind says like instead of saying I am rich, instead of saying I am successful, instead of saying any of these things, like just keep saying to yourself, well, success, well, success, well, success, well, success, well, success. And those words carry a lot of weight with us. Those words carry a lot of significance with us. And to most of us, those words are positive. So saying these things to yourself is going to do so much more for you than any affirmation could do. And it's like, if we could start saying more positive things to ourselves, I'm not even saying you have to do affirmations, but like the next time you feel yourself doubting, be like, you know what? I can do this. You know what? I can do that. You know what? I might not have the solution right now, but I know I'm going to have it soon. You know what? I don't know how, but I'm going to accomplish it. Like starting to tell ourselves those types of messages, starting to reprogram the ideas that we have. And I mean, in essence, Neville Goddard's practices are self hypnosis because as you're falling asleep, if you fall asleep in a desired state, then you're impressing to your mind that's the last idea you had. And you're really significantly going to think about these ideas for the next 8 hours while you sleep. So it's basically forcing your brain to think about a certain topic, think about a certain idea, and begin to impress it on your subconscious. And your subconscious has, I mean, really your subconscious and your imagination is the power of God. That's really all it is. Like, I mean, we can speculate on the mystical aspect of the law of assumption, law of attraction, all we want, but like, if you fall asleep feeling like you're a successful person, and you wake up feeling like you're a successful person, did you become a successful person? I mean, at the very least, you're closer to where you want to be. At the very least, you're way farther along the road, and it's really just doing this day in day out and getting to the point where it feels natural, getting to the point where like you saying I'm a millionaire doesn't feel weird. Like I've said that so many times, it doesn't feel weird to me, and it's like now I know it's just a matter of time before it happens, but like it's I'm just waiting, and it's like I don't care when it happens or not. I'm not stressed out about money. I'm not stressed out about anything. I'm just waiting for it to happen because I already know that I have the ideas inside my head to do these things. And the only way we can say these things is impressing our subconscious with positive ideas. Yeah, visualization, affirmations, asking yourself questions to lead yourself to certain ideas, certain thoughts. Any sort of imaginative function, any sort of creative process, any sort of thing that's going to get you thinking good ideas. Certain people just write, certain people don't visualize anything. Certain people think that's the best for them. Whatever makes you like, whatever makes you feel like you genuinely have that the most, that's what you should do. For me, it's asking myself questions. So like, if I really get into a good state, I'm like, how does it feel knowing you have everything you want? How does it feel knowing that you can provide for yourself? How does it feel knowing that you can provide for your family? How does it feel knowing that, your parents can retire, they don't have to worry about you anymore? How does it feel knowing that, you can go travel the world with your girlfriend? Like these are all thoughts that begin stimulating images and pictures in my head that really have a lot of depth, have a lot of meaning, and put me in a state where I feel like I can do these things. And I'll tell you what, like, even if it doesn't bring you mystical aspects, even if you don't believe in what I just said, believe in it for the fact that it's going to change your self-image. Believe it in the fact for that it's going to change how you perceive yourself. And if you change how you perceive yourself, you change how the world perceives you. So don't get all up in arms if you don't believe in the mystical aspect of it. Just do this because it's going to change your life. I haven't seen any physical returns from doing this in the month I've seen it, but watch my videos. Watch my videos from 2 months ago. Watch my videos from 3 months ago before I started studying these things. You can't tell me they didn't get better. You can't tell me I don't act like somebody that has way more subscribers than, I think. Right now in my mind, I have thousands of people in this chat right now. I don't feel like I deserve that. You know what I mean? Like, whereas if I was shocked by the amount of people that are in here right now, I'd be like nervous. I'd be shaking. I wouldn't be just performing. I wouldn't be just talking. I would be watching what I say. I don't give a fuck about what I say. You know what I mean? Like it's really at that point. You guys wanna, if I can find some videos to react to some stuff. So I don't necessarily want to go right now, but if you read Reality Transurfing, I'll look it up. What's it about? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Most of these books are all the same. Most of these books are all ripping off the same ideas. Like these ideas aren't new ideas. The ideas of Neville Goddard are not new ideas. Neville Goddard was a master of Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. It's the esoteric side of Judaism, and he really just took the mental implications of these things. And you need to understand that like the Bible wasn't the first holy book written. The Bible took a lot of Hermeticism. The Bible took a lot of the ancient Egyptian practices, the ancient Atlantean practices, and really steeped them in allegory. And the Bible is the best metaphysical textbook there is, but it didn't originate there. The ideas didn't originate there. They originated other places. I mean, the thing is like, it's 760 pages. The thing is, you can read, where is it? This book right here is 110 pages, and I did a video on it the other day, and I literally skimmed through it in like 20 minutes. And I really felt so inspired through it. Like this book is so tremendous. You don't even have to read it all the way. And it's like this is a book I promise you I'll continue to come back to and back to and back to. Like in these 110 pages, there's so much depth, there's so much information. Like you don't need to, like, I have so many books on the law of assumption, the law of attraction. Like you don't really need to read anything aside from, Think and Grow Rich or The Power of Awareness. Like, just pick one book and study it. You don't need to read 1,000 books on these things. Like, that's how I like to do it because I like to see where the ideas kind of mesh and converge and kind of all become one. And that's really how I learned by seeing it in different interpretations. But some people like rereading the same book. Like, I think you gain so much insight from reading The Power of Imagination like 10 times. I think if you read The Power of Imagination, or no, what is it called? Power of Awareness. The Power of Awareness 10 times, you would gain so much insight. You would gain so much information. Like you'd literally be able to fall asleep and wake up and you have a new supercar. Like that's literally the power you would gain from it. But again, it's all just about the application of it. It's all just about, actually doing the work. Because it's like whatever I say to you, it doesn't mean anything if you don't do it. It doesn't mean anything if you don't apply any of the practices I say. It doesn't mean anything if you don't read Neville Goddard and actually do the things. Like it's one thing to have the information, but it's another thing to apply it. Like that's the difference between um, a professor and somebody that runs a business. Like the professor may know more than the business owner. They don't apply it, so they don't reap the same rewards. And it's really, really important to know this distinction and understand it for the sake of, your journey, your path. That's what Bob Proctor has talked about. Second read it, change your paradigm, change your life. Yeah, that book's really good because it summarizes a lot of the ideas. Bob Proctor has a really good way of putting things in a way that um, really makes sense. Really, really, really makes sense. And um, I think the examples he uses, they're really easy for people to understand, even if they don't believe in these things. Like it's something that I would give to a non-believer. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like I can't give someone Neville Goddard and expect them to 100% be on board with it. But I can give them any Bob Proctor book or any Napoleon Hill book, and they'd be like, okay, I can take something from this. Like that's the thing. Like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is the most successful law of attraction book simply for the fact that like it's law of attraction, but it's steeped in just not mysticism. There's mysticism in it, but you have to look deeper. And like that's why the book has lasted to this day because it's like literally anyone can read it and take something from it. You can't do teach. I think that's right in some senses. That's right on the 90%. But I think a lot of people should I ban him just for that joke? Is that what needs to happen? Yeah, that was really bad. Dude, I was in the bookstore the other day and my girlfriend was following me around with a dad joke book. I wish I remembered one of the jokes because I would tell it to you. But basically, I was like, it was really nice, being in this relationship with you, but I don't think it's gonna work. And then she proceeded to tell me, she's like, no, I love dad jokes. That's why I think you're so funny. And I was like, I don't think you know how insulting that is. Guys, she's so mean to me. She just bullies me. Guys, I'm a victim. I can't even make jokes like that. It's so fucked up. But yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Anything else? I'm like actually starting to lose my voice, so we'll stay on a little bit longer. But telling you, if I can't stream tomorrow, I'm gonna be mad at you guys. Not actually, but dude, that's more than a bit backhanded. That's just purely backhanded. She definitely doesn't even find me funny. She just said that to bring down my spirit. The way to and from work, I listen to and think. I listen to Think and Grow Rich, then read for an hour before I work. You don't need to meditate for 30 minutes. I just like to space out my meditations. The one thing I would say is just don't force yourself to do certain habits. If I saw coaching sessions, no. Why do you want one? We could talk about it, but I don't. I'm like hesitant to do it because one, like Um, dude, I want to help people. I don't want like I don't want to feel bad. Like, what kind of business ventures, dude? I just want to get engagement. Like, I'm telling, I literally know the information that I do is that I give is just insane, and I know that it really is really impactful. So it's just like I'm trying to build up goodwill right now. Like, I don't. I don't even see the need to like monetize right now because it's just I know I'm gonna get so big that it's like I can literally just be fine. Like I don't I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about integrity and authenticity. And it's like if I have people right now that just watch my videos and just watch all my streams, like I don't need to charge you guys. You guys are the ones that are gonna build me in the algorithm. You guys are the ones that are gonna do more for me than I could ever do for you. So it's like I don't I don't necessarily feel the need to sell anything. And if I were to sell anything, it'd be so cheap. I'm not like there's courses out there that are like $20,000, and like, is it really worth $20,000? Yeah, no. And there's gonna be a day and age where I'm offered huge money, but I'm gonna have to curtail my talking points, and I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'd rather be myself than be a corporate motivational speaker. That's that's sad. That's someone's tuition that she got paid. Someone could have got a scholarship to that school, but instead they brought someone that has absolutely zero insight, absolutely zero good points, and is not a good influence. And it's really sad. It's really sad. Yeah, the thing is like I'll be able to sell courses that aren't nonsense. Like I'm not worried about people calling my courses scams. Like if you go on my school right now, it's completely free. And the courses I have in there I could charge some of them I could charge $1,000 for. Like genuinely. And it's like I'm not it's not what it is for me. I'm like I don't wanna, charge someone $1,000 that doesn't have it. I'd rather charge everyone $10 so that nobody ever pays too much for the things I like. I don't want someone to go into debt for the things I teach. When I read a book, I'm writing a book. I'm writing two books right now. But it's just getting like I this takes a lot of my energy, and yeah, there's none of the time right now. One of them's a story. Have you ever read The Prophet? One of them's a story like that. One of them's a story almost like The Alchemist and The Prophet combined. And it's my own take on it. It's my own take on the esoteric side of things. I'm really inspired by Khalil Gibran, by Nicole Naime, by um, Paulo Coelho. I don't know how to say his name. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you. That's cool to see. Yeah, well, I haven't thought if I'm gonna do because Amazon does it where you can just if you just give the title, the text, and like the cover, it prints it for you. So I think it would just really be easy to publish that. Maybe it's a little overpriced. I don't know. So we might just do digital format. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not even gonna worry about getting it out. I'm just gonna write the book and then go from there. Um, but yeah, no, that should be cool. That should be cool. The best part about this is like I don't need to go to a publisher. Like you just saw it there. There's people that would buy it. There's people that would be interested in it. So it's like I don't need the validation of some editor. I don't need the validation of some marketing department. Like I can do it myself. Maybe there's gonna be a day where I go to an editor because I think that they could better get it on mass. They could get me better deals. They could get me in Barnes and Nobles and stuff. But I don't think that's what I need to do right now. I think I just need to get stuff on paper and just start learning to write and start learning to express my ideas in a written form. Doing YouTube shorts on various sections of your book. Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, honestly, if I write a format, if I write like not a format, if I write an outline, I think I think that'll be good. How Robert Greene does that, summarize his own books. Yeah, yeah. Dude, Robert Greene's YouTube channel is so genius. Because think he like first of all, he's Robert Greene, he's a good speaker. And second of all, like all he does is just talk about books. He's like, this is a concept from my book. It's linked below. And like he probably has an affiliate link, but he's also making money off the back end of it. You know what I mean? So it's like a double-edged sword. You know anything about Kevin Trudeau? No. Can look him up. All I'm saying is the Federal Trade Commission. Yeah. Maybe not a good example to bring up, right? All I'm saying is the crimes that he's committed. He's a modern king's advisor. The thing is, someone was asking me if I wanted to meet Robert Greene and like do an interview with him. Like, I wouldn't. Like, he's probably an awesome guy. He's probably really cool, but like, I feel like it will just destroy the image I have of this master manipulator in my mind. I feel like it's gonna make me, um, like to me, he's an idea in my head. He's not a real person. And the moment he becomes a real person, the moment he becomes human, I think that'll take some of the mystique away and that'll take some of the coolness away from the movie. I don't know. Maybe it goes the other way because maybe he's just such a unique person that it inspires me. But I don't know. I've seen like celebrities. I've seen how they act. I don't particularly think they're all that. I don't think they're any better than anyone else, but they act like they are. He did this audio recording in the early 2000s called "Your Wishes, Your Command." Yeah. I mean, it's also like if they can build up a case on you, they will. It's not. I'm not. I'm not typing that in. Why would I type that in? Bro, you realize that I don't clear my search history, so like whatever I search, people can see while I'm streaming. I'm not. I literally had to clear because I was what? Okay, I can't say this actually. I was. I don't know. I can't even say it because that's me admitting to something I should have been doing. Um, yeah. Anyway, change the subject. Forgot I was live. I was about to admit to a crime right there. How did I see it on stream? Bro, you not been on stream when I've been reacting to stuff? Could I just go in my Google tab? Maybe I should do private browsing. Wait, it's not on. But I have a screen capture, so it sees my screen. Yeah, I screen share. Why is the sky blue? I don't know. They say it's because of the water. Who knows? Some people say it's because of the. I'm not even gonna say it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth getting associated with that. I was about to say something that was gonna get me in fucking trouble. In like 3 years, people are gonna like react to whatever I was about to say. Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Anything else? Starting to get a little tired. I want to finish this book I was reading. Um, should I do the next half of this book tomorrow? Should that be what we do tomorrow? Would you guys be down for that? I think this stream's gonna be cool because I think people are gonna go back and watch this one a lot. um, more so than the other ones. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for what was your other book about? It's just philosophy. It's just me explaining what philosophy is. Um, and then I was gonna get into. I think I have to break it up in terms of different essays, though. I think it has to be like a collected works, like Emerson stuff. Like if I do just a bunch of different short, I don't know, ideas about things, I think that's gonna be the best format for me. Yeah, I'll stream around the same time, so well, don't worry, you'll catch the yeah, you'll catch it at some point. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll see you again. Um, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm really starting to lose my voice. I can feel it right now. If I go like 20, 30 minutes more, I'm gonna lose it. So I don't feel like doing that because that's gonna suck. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Um, will your book have practical techniques? We can. I mean, I don't know if that's the kind of book it's gonna be. It might be something else. It might just be my ideas. It might not necessarily be that kind of stuff. It might not be like Think and Grow Rich. It might be like a philosophy book or a theology book. So yeah, it'll be its own thing. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. It's fun hanging out with you guys, and it was fun doing this. We'll do the second part of this tomorrow. And yeah, see you guys.